All right, in today's review lesson, we are going to review how to multiply and divide rational numbers. So that means multiplying and dividing positive and negative whole numbers, integers, fractions, and decimals. In your notes at the top of the page, write multiplying and dividing rational numbers, and also in your table of contents, write multiplying and dividing rational numbers as the title for today's lesson. First, let's review the rules for multiplying and dividing integers first, and then we'll go on to fractions and decimals. And you should already know these rules, but let's just really quickly review them. A positive times a positive is positive. Positive times a negative is negative. Negative times a positive is negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. We also learned that if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. Signs are different, the answer is negative. Those are our rules for multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. I'm going to skip the easy examples and flip on to fractions and decimals. So here, multiplying and dividing positive and negative fractions. Again, we want to change our mixed numbers to improper fractions. If you try to multiply with mixed numbers as mixed numbers, it's going to give you the wrong thing. Next, we're going to change the division to multiplication and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. You might have learned this as keep, change, flip. We multiply by the reciprocal. Then, and that's only with division problems, we don't do that with multiplication. Then we see if we can cross cancel. Then we multiply across top and cross bottom. So let's do A together. Everybody with me? The first thing we want to do is convert our mixed number to an improper fraction. So I'm going to have -4/5 times 7 over 2. I look and see if I can cross cancel, and I can do divided by 2 is 1 and is 2. Then I multiply straight across. 2 times 7 is 14. 5 times 1 is 5. And a negative times a positive is a negative. Last thing to do is convert back into a mixed number, and that's going to be -2 and 4/5. Alright, I want you to try B on your own. Hit pause, work it out on your own, hit play to check your answer. Our first couple steps are we first want to convert our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So I get 26 over 5 divided by -21 over 10. Then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So first fraction stays the same, change division to multiplication, and then we flip the second fraction. Next, I look and see if I can cross cancel. I could simplify by dividing by 5 here, so I did that, and then I just multiply straight across. Last, I put it back into a mixed number. So I divide the top divided by the bottom, 2 and 10 over 21, and that's going to be negative since the signs were different here. So that's multiplying and dividing with fractions and mixed numbers. Multiplying with decimals, remember that you just multiply as usual, count up the decimal places, and we scoot the decimal over in the answer at the end. I know we've been using calculators for a good while now, but we have to be able to do this without a calculator because they're going to give you some non-calculator questions on SC Ready. So let's do the first one together, then I'm going to have you try one on your own. So number 1, 3.2 times -4.3. I already see that the signs are different, so I'm going to write negative for my answer. And then I'm just going to multiply like normal. I'm going to add like usual. And then at the end, how many times am I going to scoot the decimal over? There's 2 numbers to the right of the decimal, so 1, 2. This would be -13.76. Try number 2 now on your own. Try number 2 now on your own. Hit play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, I have my work over here for the multiplication. I got 11664, and then I counted 1, 2, 3 numbers to the right of the decimal, so you scoot 1, 2, 3 times 11.664, and it would be positive since the signs are the same. All right, last thing to review is dividing sign decimals. Remember that you cannot divide by a decimal, so if we have a number in the divisor that has a decimal in it, we have to scoot that to the end of the number, and then we move the decimal and the dividend the same number of times. Let's try one. All right, let's try with 25.2 divided by 0.2, -0.2. Set it up. Remember, the first number is your dividend, goes inside the house. Negative 0.2 is the divisor, goes outside. I can go ahead and tell that this is a negative answer because the signs are different. Now I'm going to scoot this over 1. I'm going to scoot this over 1. And so now I just do my regular division. So that would be that, that would be that, and that would be that. So we get negative 126. And it's not working. So it's negative 126. Okay? Try one now. Try number 4, and we'll make that the last one we do. Hit pause, try it on your own, and then hit play to check your answer. All right, so when we scoot our decimal over twice, scoot it over twice, we end up getting 60, and the signs are different, so it's negative, negative 60. Okay, one last thing to review is order of operations. Y'all know this. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. We learned later in the year that parentheses can actually mean a lot of different grouping symbols, so we take care of that first. So we would do here 3 plus 2 is 5. Then we'd multiply times the negative 5, get negative 25. Then add to the negative 4 would be negative 29. Oh, and this is really the last thing, I promise. Complex fractions. Whenever we have a fraction on the top or the bottom of another fraction, or we might have it on both, you remember we just rewrite this as a division problem. You've been having these in your spiral review, so this shouldn't be anything too terribly new to you. But the main fraction bar gets rewritten as the division symbol, and it's like a dividing fractions problem. Let's try one. Negative 5/6 divided by 15 over 2. We see our main fraction bar here. That's what separates negative 5/6 divided by 15 over 2. And then we multiply by the reciprocal. And then can we cross cancel? Yes, we can. 3, 1, 2, and 3. So then 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 3 is 9. And a negative times a positive is a negative. So we would get negative 1/9. Again, complex fractions, we just rewrite it as a dividing fractions problem and go from there. All right, at this point, you should be ready to try the number systems practice on digits. Let me know if you need help.